as if it came with a Bauhaus poster. I had no idea. That is the best thing to ever happen to me in my entire life. How sick. Wow. And the cover. Okay, I bought this because I saw a secondhand one, I didn't buy it, and then it was gone and I really want it. But I didn't know the new pressing came with so much cool stuff. How sick. Oh, Wednesday, now we're living. This side, Bela Lugosi is dead. And me, I feel not so good.
Keep the message like that. Consider yourselves blessed.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. It is obviously probably a shorter video this week. I didn't start filming anything until Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday I was just really tired to be honest with you after traveling last week. My dad was off work for the Easter bank holidays, so I took them off work too. We started watching the new Interview with the Vampire series on AMC. You can't actually watch it in the UK, but my dad acquired it, and we've been watching that, and it's as good as I hoped it would be and that I've seen it is from the gifs and stuff. Like, it's just such a genuinely good time. I found it to be obviously a lot more authentic to the books than the movie was, that kind of thing. As big Anne Rice vampire fans, like, we're having just the best time, really. So I did that kind of like Monday, Tuesday. I have some things to talk about and I don't know where to start, really. We can talk about the tapes first, the elephant in the room. Someone on Tumblr last week said to me, or the beginning of this week, no, last week, I think, the weekend, I guess, sent me an inbox, and Anon sent me an inbox and said, oh, I'd love to see your vinyl collection, like, I collect tapes, kind of thing. It was longer than that, but that was the gist. And I said, oh, my vinyl collection is really small because they're so expensive. Like, do you listen to your tapes? Like, can you tell me about how that works? And they did. The trouble with being autistic and also stressed is that I'm very susceptible to hyperfocus. So when someone comes into my inbox and writes me a thesis about their interest or their special interest, something they're passionate about, I find that very compelling. I read this Anon's thesis on cassette tapes and I was like, gosh, that is compelling. I love music. I don't know if that's obvious or not, but I do. I love music and I love things that I can hold. So cassettes, I was like, wow, that really is compelling for so many reasons. Not only have I been incredibly stressed for the last month because of everything going on with my shop, the PayPal fiasco with them withholding all of the funds in my account, and then packing the orders and the product orders getting delayed and then finally arriving and then packing it all, and then the chaos at the post office and everything. I have been very stressed, I can't lie. So when someone started telling me about cassette tapes and I saw that they're pretty cheap still, I paid between like £5 and £12 for each tape. It's really cheap compared to vinyls. I don't buy that many records because they're minimum like £30–35. It's so expensive. 2 vinyls is almost £100, like, it's a lot. Cassette tapes are weirdly cheap still. Not weirdly, but they are still relatively cheap. I don't think it's weird that they're cheap. I think they probably should be cheap. But it's, I don't know. I've been struggling, okay? I can't even form a sentence. I've been struggling. And I am very prone to hyperfocus when I'm struggling because I'm so desperate, I guess, subconsciously, unconsciously, for that distraction, that when someone offers it to me in the form of a thesis in my Tumblr inbox, I was like, wow, I accept. I started doing some independent research into cassettes and everything, cassette players, and it was really interesting. It was a great 2 days. And then I bought a cassette player and I was like, well, I hope this works out. I play tested my cassette player last night. We managed to connect it to the Bluetooth speaker in the kitchen, and I tested it with this Stranger Things season 4 album that I got on Amazon for cheap, and it was really good. It was a really fun time. I don't have any regrets. I got these cassettes, all the major food groups, if you will, either the best or the worst selection of music you've ever seen. I got these on Etsy from a UK-based cassette shop. If people are interested, I'll link it in the description. These are all of my major food groups: Praise You by Fatboy Slim, Creep by Radiohead, Oasis, and the Lost Boys soundtrack. I mean, I'm not ashamed of my taste in music. I like to have a good time, okay? That's why we're here. I chose to get the We Are Rewind cassette player. It was expensive, but I got paid for a freelance job recently and I was feeling dangerous in that way that you do when you're autistic and stressed and looking for a distraction. So I chose to try this. I know that a lot of like proper cassette fans and people who are like professional collectors and stuff, like real hobbyists to the truest form, will say that it's a bit shit and that you should buy a vintage cassette player. But the fact that it has Bluetooth capabilities was really interesting to me. I think there's something about having the tactility of the old and then like the modern convenience, I guess, combined is just kind of interesting. You could also argue that it's kind of a bastardization of the form, but I think there's something interesting about it. And I bought this to keep in my room. I won't take this out. I'll keep it on my desk and then I can listen to music at home with it. As I said, we used it in the kitchen last night and it was really fun while we were cooking and stuff. and it was a good time. It works fine, it sounds great. I used headphones and I used the speaker and it sounds fantastic. If I do enjoy this long term, I think I'll also get a vintage Walkman, like a restored Walkman, or I'll restore it myself. But for now, I thought this would be like the most interesting sort of gateway, I guess. So it's cool. This afternoon, I'm gonna play test these tapes to make sure they're all working fine. The risk, obviously, when you buy them online is that they're old and they might not be working fine, but I'm gonna check them. And yeah, I really don't have a better explanation. I just have been struggling, and then I got paid and I was like, okay, time to live dangerously. But you know, if the worst thing I can do is buy a lot of cassette tapes on eBay, then it's not too bad, is it? So that's how we got here. I'll keep you updated. I'm really excited. I'm not even that embarrassed. Like at this point, I've been dealing with my autistic stuff and my hyperfocus stuff for so much of my life that I'm like, well, it happened again. Like, I don't know. I'm excited. It looks fun. Like it wasn't even, apart from the cassette player itself, it wasn't expensive. I found a lot of really good American-based cassette shops. UK is harder to find. This Etsy shop was definitely the best I found in the UK. But I found some really great American ones, and I'll put them in the description for anyone interested. Don't get into cassette tapes just because I did. It's weird. It's a weird hobby. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but I'll let you know how it goes. I'm excited because, as I said, I do love music and I love tactile things. I love things I can hold in my hands. I love the idea of collecting my favorite albums, and I do that with records, but records are so expensive that it's just not, I can't do it as fun as I would like, I guess, because of the cost. It's always like, I just keep pushing them back because I'm like, I can't afford that this month. It's £35 or £40. Like it's a lot. Cassette tapes, £7. So I don't know, it's interesting. But yeah, I'll keep you updated. The only other major thing I think I need to talk about is my shop. People keep asking me why there's a password on the website. It's because the shop isn't open right now. It's not broken, and you don't, there's no secret password for you to get. So to stop asking people on Instagram for the password. There's no password, only I have the password right now. The shop is closed because I'm not currently shipping orders. That's why it's closed. It's only been closed for about a month while I've been processing the Patreon pre-orders. I had wanted to do a bigger launch originally, but obviously PayPal tried to ruin my life. So I closed my shop to stop that, to try and freeze that while I was dealing with it. I am happy to say that PayPal have actually released the funds. I really thought it was like a 1% chance that they were actually going to give me the money, especially after it all happened and I did research and found out that PayPal have several, if not several hundred, open lawsuits regarding this matter at the moment across the world. They are just scamming small businesses. You can look into that if you want, but I'm not gonna spend a long time explaining it, but that's what goes on with PayPal and small people. I really didn't think I was gonna get the money back, but I did. So that's a huge relief. However, PayPal was really the start of the stress. I can't believe that PayPal ended up being like the least of my stress during this whole ordeal. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I've been talking about it nonstop for a week to my dad and stuff, and I still don't know how to talk about it out loud. Basically, international shipping has gotten incredibly stressful. I have had a lot of people DM me in various places, send me asks and stuff on Tumblr about how they've been experiencing similar things in their countries. I think Italy was one that was mentioned quite a lot, and also America and stuff like that, and parts of Europe. Basically, international shipping has gotten so stressful, it's gotten so time-consuming. After Royal Mail, which is the main postage company in the UK, after they had a cyber attack back in January, like, they made the criteria for shipping internationally so much stronger, and I can also now no longer put international parcels through the self-checkout machine at the post office. So what I used to do was pack all my parcels, add all my customs forms, and then separate them into like international Europe and UK, and then take them all down to the post office and process them myself on the self-checkout machine. It didn't take that long. I got quite fast at it, and I liked that because I could see that I was typing in the addresses correctly and that I was choosing the correct shipping amounts, and I could see what each was costing. And then it prints out all the tracking numbers. They were all separate pieces of paper, and it was great. I put them in my book, and then I go home and I send everyone their tracking numbers. now you can no longer put international parcels through the self-checkout machine. I keep trying to ask them if it's ever going to be back on the machine, and they seem to not understand the question. Either that or they just don't know, which is very plausible. You post things through the post office with Royal Mail, but they're two separate companies. So the post office staff really have very little control over anything. It's all the terms for postage are set by Royal Mail, and they just have to adapt. Like, that's just how it works. So when I took the first batch of orders to the post office, it was okay. It was time consuming doing it at the till and not the self-checkout, but it was okay. It went off without a hitch. The second batch of parcels, something had changed. I think because the April had started, something changed. And now the post office clerk had to type in like 4 sets of details for every single parcel. So they had to type in the sender's address, my address twice, and then also the shipping address twice for each parcel because of the customs information. Basically, they escalated the customs declarations. And so the customs sticker on the back of the parcel was no longer enough, and they had to enter all of that information manually online twice for each parcel, which is so surreal. Like, they were saying that it's absurd because Royal Mail have given them so much more work and it makes no sense. And I agree, like, it's so insane. So now I'm having to go to the post office with my parcels. I'm doing the British ones on the self-checkout as normal, but then I have to queue for a minimum of 45 minutes each time. And there's only ever 1 or 2 tills open. So I have to queue for a really long time with my parcels. And then I have to stand for a long time while they process them all one by one, each parcel taking like 3 or 4 minutes each. And I take 30 to 40 parcels each time. So then I've been having trouble where people in the queue behind me are getting really cross. And that's polite, British politeness. They're getting cross, they're getting really angry. I've had people swearing at me and stuff, and like shouting at me from across the room while they're in the queue and I'm at the till. And the staff don't do anything. I don't think they're allowed to intervene in like violent or angry situations because they have no power, right? So I don't think they're actually allowed to do anything. So they just ignore it. So I have to stand there and ignore it while someone is calling me a bitch repeatedly while I'm getting my parcels processed. And it's just a lot, and it happened twice, so it's a lot. I have looked at the click and drop and stuff services, but I don't want to print my labels at home, and the Royal Mail collections and the post office collections can only bring you British labels. They can't bring you international labels, so I would have to do my international labels at home, and it's all gotten so stressful. Not only that, even if I did go ahead with a click and drop type service or an online service, now international shipping has gotten so unreliable. I had a situation this week where the post office clerk from the second batch of parcels actually entered one of the addresses wrong. It was a German parcel and somehow the destination country had been written as USA, so someone contacted me and said, oh, my tracking is showing my parcel is in America, but I live in Germany. And they were like, they thought they had the wrong number, and I checked and it wasn't the wrong number. Like, the post office clerk had messed up the information and sent it with the wrong label on it. So I had to refund that, obviously. So like that's not the only one that happened. There was a few of them. It's just getting so messy. Not only that, but at the moment, so many international parcels are not even arriving. Like, I don't know what's going on. It's gotten so stressful. I can't believe that PayPal ended up being the easiest part of this all. They withheld like all of my money from me, all of the shipping money, like literally, like they withheld over 100+ orders worth of money and shipping money. And it was like the least of my worries. Like, everything else after that was so much more stressful than the PayPal situation. And it's like, autistically speaking, I can't cope with it. Like, it's so confusing. So the too long didn't read for that is that when I open my shop, and I'm hoping to open it next week, okay, so spread the word in the comments, okay, when people ask, it's next week. When I reopen my shop next week, I will only be shipping physical products to the UK. I'm not going to be international shipping. I don't know if this will be temporary. I might just need a break while I look into some other options. Or maybe it will be permanent, because not only are the services expensive and complicated and long, even if I was printing labels at home and doing a different service made for businesses, it's still so unreliable. And I'm losing so much money and I'm losing customers, and it just sucks that even if I did learn to use a new system and stuff and take on the extra cost of printing at home, it would still mean that like they're not always arriving, and it's just so unreliable now and unpredictable. So I'm not sure, to be honest. It might be temporary or it might be permanent. I will say that I'm gonna pivot a bit and do some more digital stuff for you guys. So when my shop does reopen, you can download prints and you can download the sticker sheets and the ghost cards. And if you have other requests, let me know in the comments. And maybe some zines. Basically what I'll do is just make sure that I have more digital options available for international followers and subscribers. Obviously I don't want to let you down, and I know that some of you will be really disappointed, but it's gotten so out of hand. Like, it's so out of hand and I can't cope. This last month has been so stressful that I'm worried if I just immediately open the shop and try and tackle it all again, I'm gonna burn out. And for those who don't know, autistic burnout is really serious. You like lose skills and it makes you really poorly. It can take months and even years to recover from. Not only that, but it's so under-researched and misunderstood that no one even knows how to get out of it properly. I think I spent most of my life burnt out, and sometimes I'm not sure if I'm not still burnt out, and that's why I hit that wall so quickly. And I don't know how to fix it, so I really don't want to risk exacerbating it, if that makes sense. I really want to share things with you. Like, I love what I do. I really love what I do, and I love the ghosts. The ghosts are such a passion project, and I was so excited to share them with you. But the international shipping at the moment is so much stress that I don't think I can do it. And a lot of people on Tumblr and stuff already and Patreon have been so understanding, and I'm really grateful for that. Please don't be too mad at me in the comments. I know it sucks. It really sucks. I wish we weren't living in like a late stage capitalism hellscape because all the services are falling apart at the seams by design, so the people on top can make the most money, and it's just everyone else is just like, okay, but what do we do, you know? So I don't know. I wasn't meant to go on that tangent, but there you go. I am gonna make some digital stuff. Hopefully it's gonna be really cool. If you have ideas or requests for digital products, please leave them in the comments. I'm gonna be working on that update this week, the coming week. And then so when the next video goes up on Friday next week, the shop will be open for you and you can buy digital products. And UK people can buy physical products. I will do a ghost card restock for UK people. Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. I'm sorry. But I also don't want to get sick trying to make it happen, you know? So this is where we're at. That's it this week. I'm just knackered. I'm so tired. So it's been a shorter week. I've been hella tired. I fell into a hyperfocus hole so bad that I'm only now coming out of it, and I'm like, oh god, what have I done? But I'm gonna make some digital stuff. I'm gonna take that break because I don't want to get sick and have to stop making videos or something, you know? Like, okay, sometimes being a freelancer is just like that. When you're especially a disabled freelancer, like, it's really just about hitting those walls and then resetting the boundaries for yourself and reanalyzing constantly about what you can achieve and what you can't achieve. Like, it just never ends. You're constantly having to reassess and adapt, and it just... Every time I think I've hit my stride and I'm like, oh, okay, things are good and manageable right now, suddenly they're just not anymore for external reasons or internal reasons, and then I have to re-begin the whole process all over again, and it's just life, innit? So, okay, this afternoon I'm gonna play test all of these with my headphones, and then I'm gonna try and connect it to my Bluetooth speaker up here. It was quite finicky, the Bluetooth yesterday, which I feel is understandable. All Bluetooth is kind of like that. But I do want to get it working with the same speaker I use for my record player. And then after that, I'm gonna do some more commonplacing. The brain drain is real. I need to drain the brain. So I'm gonna do some of that, I think. And then that's probably it, I imagine, for this week. Thank you for watching. Hope that all made sense. I have no idea how long this talking clip is. But that's what's going on. I hope you're all doing better than I am. Sometimes things are just so strange, aren't they? Like, I hesitate to even call them hard per se, because I've definitely gone through harder things. But like, it's just so many small things all the time build up and it becomes so unsustainable. And that just sucks. But cassette tapes exist, so we're living a great life, really. Alright, I will catch up with you next week. want to listen to side B. Oh, this one is Tape Spaghetti. It sounds so good. I do have to say this is definitely one of like the best accidental hyperfocus interests I've ever gotten into. I am having like a phenomenal time. I'm not going to talk because the audio is always trash from when I film from the front, but I just wanted to say that, like, I have no regrets. I am having a great time, autistically speaking. Like, this is a whole new level of special stim. Like, just like the tactility, the big buttons, and then putting the tapes away. And like, don't touch that. That's my emotional creep. That's my emotional support creep tape from Radiohead. You know, like I could carry this in a coat pocket and be weird about it. Let's do Morning Glory next. I had to rewind this one. I might have to rewind. This one's right. No, it also needs rewinding. But that's fine. We can rewind.
Broadcast into the homes of gossip. But Panic Queen, Joker's boss fight is up there with Naked Atlas as an all-time disappointment in a game that could otherwise be called a masterpiece. There's just one fix.